and very long. It is about 60 foot wide, which when we submitted it, we knew that it was going to be more expensive than some of your other narrow thoroughfares. In the process, we did an assessment of the existing curb and gutters, and we found there was about 1,440 feet that we needed to replace. We knew that there was some ground shifting in one bad area, especially very noticeable from Woodlawn to Shinna. That whole curb and gutter is basically crumbled. It's more of a gravel, rock area than it is curb and gutter drainage. And the reason why I do all that is because off a hillside, the natural terrain and everything is coming down. And so we have underground water and underground movement. The way we fixed that in the past on Bird Street, we had something similar on Bird, is to remove the curb and gutter, set a new existing drain flow path, and dig down about 12 inches deep and reset and repack that with road base, and then set the brand new curb and gutter on stabilized, compacted road base. So it helps for the future. I cannot say it will not move, but your engineer here will say that that's the best known practice for trying to stop the movement, is setting it on a compacted road base that is there with a stronger...
You're pretty well armed for an IT guy.
Yes, sir.
That west side of Shinna never had a curb. Between Hillside and Long, is that what you're talking about? That real short strip, or not? Maybe that's not what you're talking about.
No, I'm talking about
further down?
yes.
Okay.
Yes. And in doing the assessment, as you can tell, it's right in the middle of a pandemic when we're cementing everything and doing the assessment. We acknowledged what was existing ground shift and her problems, and so that's where we accounted for the 1,440 feet. And then, as we're getting ready to do the project, Mr. Bell brought me out there, and we together assessed that we've had more damage, and you've seen some damage out there from Atmos. Atmos is going to repair the damage that they've done. And so we discussed with Mr. Gregory about the additional damage, and we had discussed with Nick Thomas, our drainage engineer, about this, and he brought up the drainage master plan. And this particular alignment shows from, that is Thurston?
That's one up to Thurston.
Yes.
And back up.
Up at the very top of the screen, that's a walk where it actually starts. And your drainage master plan has a underground storm drain that would start there on Walther and go all the way down to the boulevard in that plan. And the cost back in the day was close to $800,000, and now that cost we're estimating around $3 million. Is that correct?
2.1.
2.1, I'm sorry. Now, in that original cost in 2003, there were two other projects in what we call, if you go down a couple of slides. This is maps from your drainage plan. One more slide, please. In your drainage master plan, this is what we call drainage area basin WI6, and that would entail not only the project on the top, but a project on the bottom, and the next is an OPC back in the day. Next slide, please. And that's where the $800,000 comes in to handle both projects. And this 2.1 is just the project that is north of the boulevard. And so as we can see from 2003 till now, the costs have just extremely risen and there. So what we wanted to do is bring it back in front of you due to the fact that we presented to you in 2021 that the existing curb and gutter was in great enough shape. The existing storm drain, there is an existing storm drain from Alameda to the boulevard. It's all in good shape, and there's been some shifting in the curb and gutter. So we have some options in front of you to consider, because the last thing I wanted to do as staff is make a decision of this magnitude and have you come back and say, why didn't we address this back in the day? And so we are now looking at some options where we can go forward and keep the project moving as presented. We will have some extra costs replacing some additional curb and gutter, put it back as existing. Or another option is that we upsize the existing storm grade to Almena as in the plan, and then prepare in the future to extend it up along with another project as the city finds the funding means to do that. So there's a future plan there. Or to delay the entire project and to reach out and find funding means through our financial advisors and any kind of grants that we can locate through the State Water Development Board to make this happen prior to fixing the road. In doing so, I'm requesting that if we choose to delay the project, that we divide the project in two places and actually stop the project there at Thurston, from the boulevard to Thurston, and then the second project would be from Thurston to Highway 199. We are about to start a project of a water main replacement, and that'll be completed in 90 days, and then we're ready to rebuild that road, the section that is really bad. And so we're
From the boulevard to Thurston, or?
From Thurston to the Highway 199, we'll be ready.
Okay, you want to do that one first,
Yes,
including the hill and all that?
yes.
How's that gonna work? Putting curb along where that goes across the creek, or whatever you wanna
We
call it?
won't put curb and gutter at the creek. When you drive down to the creek from our side before you go up the hill, there's already an existing gutter flowing there, and there's only about 2 homes that lack curb and gutter, and we'll put those curbs and gutters in and tie into that flume, and all the curb and gutter will stop. The piece going up the hill will just be resurfaced.
I think they were talking about splitting the house, wasn't they, Marvin?
They built the house. One there.
They
On the other side.
Yeah, but we've been talking to them because you can't build that without a principal house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we got a problem there.
Our problem, the whole road needs addressed, but our major failure is from Shinna Street to Thurston Street. And it's actually, the majority of it is from Shinna to Woodlawn where it's failing, completely failing. And that's where we have the water line project, getting that new water line in there, addressing all the utilities. That's the last piece of the utilities, and then we can go in there and rebuild that street.
So, but you're saying that you feel like you need to fix the drainage before you put the street in, or it won't stay, or not? Am I understanding that?
No,
How does the drainage fit with the street rebuild?
Okay. The drainage will address problems in 3 different areas. The increased drainage pipe as the master plan will increase water intake there at Almena, where the new convenience store in Almena is. In other words, the pipe will be, the box, it goes from a pipe to actually being a big drainage box. And all that will be larger to take more water there. And that box continues all the way up to Thurston, and then it's taking in more water. That's the second area of flooding that we're seeing for additional water, is water's coming off the hill, around the church, and then just flooding out right there at Thurston and Long. And then if we continue the drainage project, it goes up Thurston, up the other street to Lawther Street, and deals with a problem that the task force has been dealing with that resident up there. It actually takes water off that hill.
The corner house, sure. You don't know.
I think he's midstream, about where Melville intersects. What's happening is water is coming off Melba and a few other streets up there, and it's just overriding the curb and gutter and going through these people's yards, about 3 residents, and washing out.
So if you pave the road and fix the curb and gutter, where would the drainage go after all that's done? Would you have to cut the road to put that in, the new road?
That's what I'm saying here today, is if we go in there and replace it as is, we do improve the drainage because all the curb and gutter is straight and everything like that, but we don't address what was identified in the master plan. address these areas that are flooding more.